my dear students. So today we are going to discuss about yet another topic from the lesson Breath and Blood of Life. So in last class we learned about the process of breathing and its importance. So today we are going to learn about what happens when the oxygen gets into the blood, when the inhaled air gets into the blood. So when we breathe in, the oxygen gets into the blood and it mixes up with the blood. The blood will carry this oxygen to all the parts of the cell, and what the blood will do, it will receive the carbon dioxide from the cells and send it back to the lungs for exhalation. Then these are the main important functions of the blood. There are still more important functions of blood. First I told you, blood will transport the oxygen to all parts of the cell. Then it receives the carbon dioxide from the cell back to the lungs for exhalation. It also takes nutrients from the digested food to the cells. And also we learned in the previous chapter that urea is producing in the liver. So it carries the urea from the liver to the kidneys for elimination from our body. So these are the important functions of blood. So this happens when the inhaled air, that is the oxygen, when it gets into our body, and how the carbon dioxide gets out of the body. So this is what happens during this process. Now talking about blood, can you say, children, what is the color of our blood? Yes, it is red in color. Why it is red? Because there is an iron pigment called hemoglobin. So hemoglobin makes the color red. And this hemoglobin's main function is to, see, I told you, when the oxygen enters into the blood, it mixes up with hemoglobin of the blood, and then it will get transported to all the cells of the body. Then it receives the carbon dioxide and it sent back to the lungs for exhalation. So this is the process of or function of hemoglobin. It takes in, it mixes with the oxygen. Okay, when the oxygen is taken in, it mixes with the oxygen and it is sent to all parts of the cell and receive the carbon dioxide from the blood, and it is sent to the lungs for exhalation. So this is the function of hemoglobin. Now talking about the components of blood. Blood, it consists of mainly two parts. The first part is the water content, because 90% of blood is the water. So that is called plasma. The fluid part of the blood is called plasma, and other parts are red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets. Red blood cells means the name, from the name only we can understand that the color of that cell is red, because this is due to the presence of hemoglobin. The same function as we told before, this hemoglobin does here. White blood cells, it is just a defense mechanism. It takes part in defense mechanism. You know what does it do, children? It will fight with the germs that enter into our body, so that we will not get diseases. To some extent, it will fight against the germs that enter into the body. So it takes part in defense mechanism. Then platelets. You know that when you get a wound or any injury, the blood starts flowing from the wound, right? Yes. And after some time you can see that the blood flow will stop and it will turn to clot. This is due to the presence of platelets. And talking about white blood cells, there are 5 types of white blood cells in your body. So this is about the components of blood. Plasma, which is the fluid part. Then comes the red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets. Now in other organisms, there are fluid, there are mechanisms for the transport of substances, there are fluids, but the fluid doesn't contain hemoglobin, so it is colorless. And it doesn't have a blood vessel. Blood vessel means it is a pipe or a tube through which the blood flows. That is called blood vessels. So there is no separate tube or pipe for the blood to flow. But they contain a fluid and transport of substance takes place to all parts of the cell. But it is colorless. In cockroach and all, the blood is colorless. In unicellular organisms like amoeba and all, I told you it is made up of only one type of cell. So, what happens means there is no another fluid. There is no other fluid for the transport of materials. The cytoplasm, which is present in the cells. Cytoplasm is the fluid part of the cell. If you take the structure of the cell, all the cell organelles are immersed in this cytoplasm. It is the fluid part. So here in the cytoplasm, the cytoplasm helps in the transport of materials to all parts of the cells in unicellular organism. There is no blood at all. There is only cytoplasm does this job. Now talking about the blood circulation system. What do you mean by blood circulation? It is the flow of the blood from heart to all parts of the body and from all parts of the body back to the heart. So this is called blood circulation. And the parts which is involved in blood circulation are heart, blood and blood vessels. Blood we have already discussed. Blood vessels, they are, I told you as before, they are the tubes or pipes through which the blood can flow, and it is divided into 3 parts: arteries, veins and capillaries. Children, arteries are the blood vessels which carry blood from the heart to all parts of the body. Veins are the blood vessels which carry blood from all parts of the body to the heart. And capillaries is the joining of the arteries and veins. It's just a network of tissue which joins the arteries and veins. So these are the 3 types of blood vessels: arteries, veins and capillaries. Now talking about the heart, we know that heart pumps the blood to all parts of the body, and it is the main center of the blood circulatory system. Its size is of one's fist. This is called fist, children. Only this much is our heart. It's a size of one's fist. And it is protected in the thoracic cavity by the ribs, and it is situated at the left. It's not situated straight, it is situated slightly tilt. Okay, it is just sideways. It is turned little sideways and it is situated near the left part of the lungs. And we already told that it is protected by the rib cage. Our heart is protected by the rib cage. It is situated in the thoracic cavity, and it is having a double membrane called pericardium. Okay, this double membrane called pericardium, and it is the main thing which pumps blood to all parts of the body. And it consists of 4 chambers, auricles and ventricles. It consists of 4 chambers are there. In certain animals, also in human beings, it is a 4-chambered heart. In certain animals, there are many chambered heart. For example, in the earthworm, it is 5-chambered heart. For cockroach, it is 13-chambered heart. For sparrow and for crocodile, it is 4-chambered heart. And for fish, it is 2-chambered. For lizard, it is 3-chambered heart. So the chambers will differ in each organisms. So how can you detect the heartbeat? We know that our heart beats 72 times per minute. Even the heart of an embryo means a small baby, it begins to beat when it turns 22 years old. 22 days, not years, days old. When it turns 22 days old, it begins to beat. So, we are examining the heartbeat with a device called stethoscope. So, this is the picture of the stethoscope. And this device was invented by a scientist called René Laennec. Okay, so how to make this stethoscope is that you have to take a Y-shaped tube, polythene tubes, a balloon, a sellotape, a funnel. So this much things is needed for making a stethoscope. And what you have to do means you have to attach the 2 pieces of polythene tubes to the V arm of the Y tube. And to the tail also you attach another polythene tube. And to the end of the polythene tube, upwards, at the end of the polythene tubes, you can put some beads for putting it in the ear. And on the other side, you can put the funnel down, as you can see from the picture, and close the mouth of the funnel with the balloon so that the strip will remain tight. So that acts as a diaphragm for keeping in the chest, and to hear the heartbeat we will use the beads. So this is how you can make a stethoscope. But the human heart condition is getting worsened day by day in some people due to smoking, alcohol, by drinking alcohol, and by drinking food with excess oil. So to maintain our heart healthy, we have to stop avoiding smoking and drinking alcohol to some extent, and also we should not eat too much of food that contains excess fat. And always do exercise regularly, so that will be good for your heart. Take balanced diet, that is very best for your heart. Now children, this is about the heart. Now comes the first aid given to the wound. You know, when we get a wound or any injury, the blood starts flowing from the blood vessels. And we need to stop the blood somehow. So how is it possible, children? So what are the first aids we have to give? First we have to clean the wound with pure water. You might have seen your mother is cleaning the wound when you get any injury. Then you have to press and hold the wound tightly. This is to control the bleeding. Bleeding means the flow of the blood. You have to press and hold the wound tightly. If the wound is on your hand, raise the hand up. Okay, you have to raise the hand up, and if the blood is not stopping flow, if the flow is not stopping, then you have to cover the wound with a cloth or a bandage. And if it is any serious case, you have to go and provide medical assistance. So these are the first aids we have to give for the wound, if you happen to get any wound. So this is about today's topic. Hope you have understood today's lesson. So read the text thoroughly, children, before coming to the class discussion time. So bye, children.